GDPR. I really wanted to start with an actual pirate mask, not a mask, what do they call that? An eye patch, but I couldn't find one. And Joey was like, you have all these props. What it is go to your kids' toy section literally 3 seconds before you start your video and grab a pirate ship. This is the GDPR, which is going to be different than any other GDPR discussion you have seen. And we have a lawyer in the house. What? Okay, so I don't have the little sound effects like Owen has. So I need you to give us lots of, oh, I'm screaming. That's why it's echoey. Sorry, Mark. I need you to give us lots of claps and likes. I'm like screaming because there was a pirate ship in front of me.
Are you saying
it's not
that, or are the viewers going to do that?
I want everyone to do it. Can we do this? Is there a pirate ship noise? No, I thought it would like make a noise. Yes. Wow, wow, wow. And the crowd goes wild.
Don't talk like this into a mic. Okay.
Okay, so I do have to say, before I even introduce Joey, which I'm going to do, Joey told me that he wanted to start with a disclaimer. Can you give us the disclaimer? Because it's perfect with Mark's comment that he left.
Yeah, so this disclaimer, don't worry, it's not a legal disclaimer, which we'll get to in a second. But about 3 months ago, I decided, you know what? I'm doing lots of live streaming, a lot of good audio content. I need to upgrade from my little Apple headset. And so I got me this thing that a lot of people have, the Blue Yeti. And for the longest time, I was talking into it like this, like a normal microphone.
I have it as well.
And nobody could hear me. So tip, if you purchase one of these things and you haven't figured it out yet, you have to talk into this side of the mic.
It's the part that says blue, so it's called unidirectional. Is that correct? I am the worst at sound. Is that what it is?
Worst at sound too.
So it's perfect. So what happens for me with this mic, which sometimes I think I should go back to my headset, is that I get very excited and I talk way too loud. So I used to keep the mic super far away from me. I have it on a mic stand that I can move it away. But we're just going to be very like intimate, like we're just having a conversation in a coffee shop.
We can whisper. We can use our inside voices.
I got it. Oh my gosh, Erica, I'm so glad. So Erica and I actually, more than anyone else in the world, Erica and I went back and forth about how to use this stupid Blue Yeti with adjusting everything on it. And then my kids will come in here and they'll like play with the gain and mess with it, which is probably now all the way up. It's supposed to be all the way down. Is that better if I do it this way? I don't know. Tell me if you think it's better.
Kids are the worst. I don't have kids, so I can say that. I know I can't. I have not
the worst.
I have a dog, and I always tell my sisters with kids that it's the same thing as having a kid.
It is. It's like you're a fur papa.
And then they get really mad at me. I know if you have kids, it's not like you have a pet. Kids are harder.
No, but it's
hard enough.
It's kind of the same. Except Charlie recently has started saying, "I am a knight, and you are my princess." A knight and a princess. Oh my gosh. Who knew that's how we'd be starting a conversation about the GDPR? Well,
and let's tie the GDPR back to that amazing teaser video you did with Chewbacca. Such a great video, but it's my understanding that you just saw your first Star Wars movie.
Okay, for those of you that haven't seen it, I'm actually going to pull it up. So I have this awesome video that I created. Everyone has been messaging me, asking me where I created it. And then we're going to get into serious, like real concrete advice. But this is like really good. And if you're not even sure what the GDPR is, know that you need to stay here and listen to this. We have crazy bullet points, a step-by-step guide that I'm going to give you. And it's going to be amazing. But just maybe about 2 weeks ago, I made this video, which I am going to share because I can screen share with GDPR. I can screen share with BeLive. If you don't know what the GDPR is, I'd like you to actually say, what is the GDPR down below?
I've seen a lot of them, or what you think a really good set of abbreviations it should be.
That's even better. So while I'm getting this video, will you just tell us what it actually stands for? Like the letters?
Yeah. So the letters are for general.
I got that one right.
Data.
Okay. Got that one right.
Protection.
Oh, I thought maybe it was processing.
Regulation.
Perfect. See? Okay. So now if you have a better acronym for GDPR, I would like to know what it is. This is a good one from Julie. Do you see that?
a lot of I'm seeing a lot of gosh darn somethings.
Gosh darn people regulating. So I want to say that I think if we want to view this, my friend Todd Herman, do you know Todd Herman?
I don't think I do.
Oh my gosh, he's so amazing. The creator of the 90-Day Year. And he has this idea of the ow brain versus the wow brain. And they've done actual studies about this. And I think we all, and hello, Julie Anderson is a brain lady too. We all need to approach this from the wow brain instead of the ow brain. And that's why we started with the pirate ship and why we have Joey here today, because he's going to help us to do that, because he is a source of positivity and sunshine as well.
Thanks.
So Joey, while I'm pulling this up, I am going to screen share and we're going to actually go behind the scenes at BeLive TV. I had your intro all ready to read as well, and then we got sidetracked. So Joey is a hardcore lawyer, is what I'm going to say. I think he specializes in trademarks for creatives. Is that true? Yeah, correct. Look at that. Can you tell us just a little more about your experience as a lawyer and why we should trust you, and the fact that you're not giving us actual legal advice?
Yeah, so none of this is legal advice. Big disclaimer. I should have a disclaimer behind me that I can point to. This is not your lawyer. None of this is legal advice. The point of this whole discussion is hopefully just to give you some general information and insight. I am an attorney for small businesses, specifically creative small businesses, and there are, I think, a lot in general, there are business owners these days who are all trying to tell you that as soon as you start a business, you need X, you need Y, you need a website, you need a logo, you need blah, 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 blah. And as a lawyer who's worked with small businesses, I like to tell a lot of businesses that you might not need a lawyer just yet. And that's okay. The GDPR might be an exception where you want to get your ducks all in a row. But we work with thriving small business owners that have reached a point of sustainability in their business where it's worth protecting the assets that they're building. And usually that starts with trademarks, contracts, copyright protections, that kind of stuff, LLC, that kind of thing. So
super cool. So this means that we're going to be able to pick his brain about the GDPR, which I'm so stoked about. Okay, so, and Joey has an amazing Facebook group. If you comment below with the words show notes, where is it? Right here. Thank you, BeLive TV. You'll be able to see the show notes. You'll be sent a message actually straight from BeLive TV. When you reply to that message with the letters GDPR, all is one word, we will send you access to the blog post that is already created. We're actually going to ask for your email address, and then we're going to send you access to the blog post that is already created, where all the show notes will be hosted. Tom, who's here today, he's helping me to get these show notes polished up and out to you really quickly, which is amazing. Thank you, Tom. And I'm going to include all of the goodness from Joey as well. He did another video about the GDPR that I've watched that was an awesome interview, and he'll give you so much goodness. Okay, so now let's jump into the real important piece of this, which is Chewbacca. So
yes,
screen share. And Joey made a really good point that that's not Chewbacca. That is my ManyChat account, but hello.
Hi,
okay,
ManyChat.
Are you ready for this? This is the video that I actually used as promo for today's show. And I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit so that you can hear it. Hopefully this will work. Oh, my volume on my mic was all the way down.
I could hear us. I could hear you fine.
Okay, what? I am messing with these settings. I know Diane said that she's not allowed to touch her mic, which is what I should do for myself. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yes. I'm answering on behalf of everybody that's watching and tuning in. I think it's one of those things too, where after there's that.
Wait, say it again. What?
After that viral YouTube video of the woman with a Chewbacca mask, every time I see Chewbacca on something, I just start cracking up.
Totally. So if you missed that, so many people were asking me how we created it. And it's like Chewbacca teaching my Bitmoji how to speak in Chewbacca's language, right? And then at the end, I love that at the end, the Bitmoji's like, and finally gets it at the very end. And then she's like, what? And then it's over. So I posted this and I was like, it had awesome organic reach, more than any photo that I posted, right? For something like this, because when you create things that are fun and engaging, oftentimes that works better, right? And Joey, tell everybody what happened yesterday.
Yesterday, I think that Molly saw Star Wars for the first time.
Which is totally true. And I didn't even think about it. When I posted that I was watching Star Wars for the first time, I completely spaced on the fact that I had posted the Star Wars video on my business page the day before.
So what episode did you start with?
The original, the one from 1977. But even I'm like so Star Wars challenged that it took me a long time to actually figure out which one was the right one to start with. So
I thought you were going to say it took me a while to figure out which one was Chewbacca. And I was like, Molly, there's one.
No, I did know that. Okay, we got to get to this GDPR stuff because we can stay here hanging out forever. So that, Erica just asked, where was that posted? It was posted over on the Prepared Performer, my page, and then shared it from there, did an ad from there, and it's been super well. So if you found this video because of that Chewbacca ad, let me know in the comments. Give me a Chewie in the comments below.
I love it.
Okay, so we are going to get started. This is going to be crazy amazing. I have bullet points all ready for you. I'm going to pick Joey's brain. He already said that he might not know the answers, which is okay. And I think the real thing about that is that no one really knows the answers because it's so new. Yeah. And if you are someone who has a business where you're doing any sort of collection of data online, that is with tracking things on as simple as tracking people who have visited your website with Google Analytics. If you are collecting emails for an email list, if you are using a bot, we love bots here, right? And if you're doing any of that, this is going to be important to you. And if you share this video, you will be viewed as a hero on the GDPR pirate ship. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with, what is the GDPR?
Yeah. So the GDPR is a EU-based set of regulations that's over 250 pages long, and it's long, and it goes into effect May 25th. So
if you're watching this live, is Friday.
It's Friday. So a lot of you have probably been receiving a lot of emails in your inbox with things saying, hey, we're updating our privacy policy. Here's a link to the GDPR, blah, 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 blah. The reason why this is getting so much attention is because it really is affecting everybody. And that's one of the big myths out there, is that only business in the EU worry about this. It's not true.
So actually, let's start by, well, we already started, but let's continue by comment below and let us know where you are located. Because I know Mark, for example, is in the UK. And I didn't even tell you this yet, Joey, but the last thing that I want to do today, I came up with the most ninja way to segment your list using something so cool based on location. And that's the last thing that we're going to cover today. And it is amazing. So you want to stay on for the end.
Fantastic.
Yes, totally. Okay. And everybody's asking about that Snapchat. I just gave it away. It was Snapchat. That's how I created the Bitmoji thing. And I'm going to do a tutorial on it eventually. The Chewy thing was all Snapchat. Okay. So why does this affect everybody? Explain why it affects everyone.
So the way that the regulation is written is that if you are physically located in the EU, then you automatically have rights that you're entitled to as somebody that is online. So what that means,
if you're on vacation there.
Yeah. So you don't have to be a citizen of there. You don't have to be, from any particular state there. This just affords rights to anybody currently in the EU. And that's why this matters, is because if you're in the US, but you are either doing business with or marketing to some people then you have to make sure that yes, it applies to you, but it only applies to you with respect to those people. And so you have this set of new regulations that you have to abide by, but you're doing it to make sure that you're treating anybody that's interacting with you or your business from the EU. And so you need to be careful with kind of what you're doing, especially on the privacy policy. I know I'm jumping around here.
That's okay. This is perfect because we're going to go through each thing individually. But this is just an awesome overview. Yeah. And you can't tell unless you've blocked your Facebook page and blocked your website from being seen in these other countries, then it's super hard to tell whether or not it applies. And I remember I heard you say this too, which I've been thinking, there's a really good chance with everything we've seen with, Facebook and Congress and all of that these laws are possibly coming to the US as well. So if you
Yes.
think that you can like get away with it, we talk all the time, at least in my house. I don't know if I talk about it out loud. My husband and I talk all the time about the value of being preeminent. And
Yeah.
that's like with bots, with Facebook Live, with that kind of stuff. If you can be the first person to make the change, to move
Yeah.
with the cheese, to have the wow brain versus the owl brain, you're going to be on top.
I love that. I love that. And we can totally tap into that. So basically, first of all, I think you're right. I think it's only a matter of time before other countries say, you know what, people who are here also deserve similar protections, which is why, and we can get into what the GDPR means and what you should be doing. But you might want to be doing that kind of across the board as a best practice instead of just segmenting out that EU or unknown list.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I want to talk about, the segmenting, which is what we're going to come to at the very end, is that as of the 25th, you have to be super careful legally with people in the EU.
Yep.
As of life, we should start making these changes for people everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to share this
go
like
ahead.
segmenting tip, and I'd love to know what you think about the segmenting thing. But let's talk about, basically, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand is that we have to get explicit approval from people when they opt in for something on our list. When we get their information, we have to get explicit approval to be able to send them continued conversation.
Yeah. So exactly. So what used to happen is you could have a pop-up on your website that says, download this book about how you can create a Chewy thing on your video, and we'll show you how to do it. And if they sign up, they get put on your email list.
And then you just, so this for me, a lot of you know that I have had a business in the past that was solely focused on coaching musical theater performers. So I had built a list of people who wanted to know how to write a resume, let's say. And I still have those pages out there. So I still have people coming in wanting to know how to write a resume all the time. And they would never, a lot of them would not want to learn how to build a bot, even though they probably should if they're a performer, so they can treat their business like a career. But that's not what they subscribed for. So when I send messages about bots, I don't send it to people who are asking for musical theater songs for their 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just like good marketing practice anyway. Mark says, may I ask Molly for all the data you hold on me? See, this is real. It could happen because he's inside. The UK is included in this as well. But actually, you know what? I have some screenshots. I took these from an awesome blog post that Thrive Themes put out. And this is an example of what used to be okay. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on your side.
Perfect. I love this.
See it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it says, subscribe and get the awesome guide. Our topic, wait, did I bring up the wrong one? No, just kidding. I don't have the bad one here. Shoot.
No, that is the one on the
one?
right is the bad one.
Okay.
So it's not, I shouldn't say it's bad. It's just that if you do that, just understand that you can't really do much with that email address that's provided anymore. And so what the EU now says that we need to do for people in the EU is if we are going to give them some type of freebie.
So this is about lead magnets and
newsletters.
newsletters.
To give the express consent to be signed on your newsletter, and that cannot be assumed. So if you look at the box on I think it's on the left for all of the viewers that has the checkboxes below.
Well, so I didn't do the checkbox one yet because the checkbox one is actually kind of funny. Can we talk about the checkboxes and then I'll show that one.
Yeah. So the important thing now is to, well, first of all, if you wanted to, you could totally have just your opt-in say, sign up for our newsletter. And that would be the consent. But a lot of people and a lot of marketers are understanding that you're getting more signups by offering something instead of just asking people to sign up for your newsletter.
Right. So this is actually something I just one of my friends and clients, Jennifer Dunham, shared this with me today at this blog post. And I thought it was so funny. It said that what a lot of people are doing now is they're adding these checkboxes so that people can actually add on a newsletter subscription in addition to getting the lead magnet.
Yes.
So look at this one though. It says there's all these different checkboxes. I'm talking loud again. I get excited. It says, you can check, I agree to receiving the weekly newsletter. I agree. I want to receive additional promotional content. I have read and agree to the terms and conditions. I can understand that I can unsubscribe anytime. And I would like to get fries with that.
Oh, I love that. I don't see the ones below that, but that just might be I love that. That's so funny. So yeah, usually what I've seen as the best practice is to have the email option and then have a checkbox that says I agree to receiving a newsletter, and then another one that says I agree to the terms and conditions in the privacy policy.
So this is what was actually really interesting to me about this blog post that I actually just read today because Jennifer sent it to me. And what they were saying is that you might notice, and I think this is where we are all getting like, oh, but this is what we've been doing marketing wise forever. How can we change this?
Yeah.
Like, you might not get people who check that box. And so then what do you do with those people? Then they're just there, right? So I heard two really cool things today that I would love to know your thoughts on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one was that there's something called implied consent. And this I've heard today on Mari Smith's broadcast. I can't remember the name of her guest, but there's something called implied consent. And this speaks to what you were saying earlier, Joey, which is like why this is so annoying and confusing. There's no, and you mentioned this on your video with Mitch, that there's been, or maybe Mitch said it, there's not been any trials about this. So there's not like hard, fast rules about every single little thing yet.
Yeah. So just real quick.
Yeah.
It's a 200-page long set of regulations, but they're regulations. So it doesn't say anywhere in the GDPR, here's what your pop-up should look like. So that's why we're all struggling to figure out how do we apply what these requirements are and what does that actually look like for business owners.
Look at this. Jennifer says it's called legitimate interest. So what they were saying on Mari's video this morning was that if we send something about a video content planner that they're downloading, then we could send things only specifically about that video content planner. Like, did you get your video content planner as like a specific follow-up for that type of content?
Interesting.
Maybe pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that is a really interesting thing. There are a lot of unknowns. That is interesting. But I think in general, I think opt-ins are going to kind of be changing, and whether like the value of them is going to be changing over time as well.
And I mean, how many of you, I have a whole file on my computer, a Dropbox file called lead magnets, where I just download things and they go to this graveyard of lead magnets where I don't actually read them.
Yeah.
Right. And so, okay, a couple of questions that have come up. Thank you for being crazy like I am and following my brain, because I know it goes kooky a little. What happens when you collect emails at a local event and then you go home and add them yourself? You have to get this approval from,
yes.
Right. So, you have to have this approval as well.
You should. Let's go back to what you said though about this being a new thing. So there are no cases yet, and the team that is being built to police and enforce the GDPR, it's still small and obvious. Honestly, there's been the Facebook hijacking in the news recently. They're really going after bigger businesses. And yes, you can get, there can be very substantial damages if you're found to be not in violation of this. But the chances are, and I'm just being frank and honest, I see this affecting bigger businesses like Facebook and Google much more than smaller businesses. And if you are violating the GDPR because you sent an email to somebody who didn't it, that most likely they're not going to sue you or penalize you for the full extent of those damages. So one of the things, and I'm really excited that you brought me on, Molly, is I want everybody to kind of chill out. Because it's important to take all of this stuff seriously and do what you can. But I understand as a lawyer and also a business owner that this stuff can turn into analysis paralysis super quickly. And I just want to put this into the context of, take some time to figure out what best practices are and try not to worry about it too much.
And stay focused on like the actual things that move your business forward.
Yes.
That's such a good point. And I'm going to shout out Todd Herman again, because he did a post that said GDPR equals Y2K. Like everyone was worried about the Y2K stuff, and like all of the computers blowing up and everything, not working anymore. So it was I think it's such a funny thing that it could end up the Friday happens and nobody even cares, but we should be careful. But you're totally right. Like chill out a little bit about it, which is why I wanted to have fun with this. And I was so stoked when I thought of having you on, because I know you do that too.
I'm so excited to be here. So we're talking about the opt-ins, and I'm sure this is on your list, but the opt-ins go kind of hand in hand with this idea of segmentation list, because starting May 25th, it's not just that you need to be no longer sending out messages to people in the EU, but you should have, if they want your information to be deleted, you have to delete their personal information from your systems.
Yes, which is crazy. So that's one of the things that I have on my list to get to too. I want to, maybe you can answer this question, Erica, because I read this is actually not allowed. Erica said, can't you just tell them point blank if they sign up, they'll be agreeing to be on your email list for other updates, information, etc.?
No.
It says in there somewhere that you can't have a condition, which I didn't realize until this week. And if some of you had signed up for the show notes earlier, I did say if you want the show notes, you have to agree to get my newsletter, and that languaging was not allowed.
Correct.
Right?
That's no longer allowed. And so what this means is that we have to talk about segmentation and what a re-engagement campaign looks like, but also you can do two things. You can either have the checkbox there that says, do you agree? Or you cannot have the checkbox there. And part of your follow-up campaign can be like trying to sell them on the value of your newsletter and getting them to say yes as a follow-up. And so that's
where you would use that legitimate interest, whatever. I forgot the actual legal word.
That's where you can say, here's this
follow-up campaign would not be your basic newsletter.
Correct. But you can offer the newsletter and really make that be the next thing that they say yes to.
So this is the other thing that I got from the third option for that, which I got from Jen, the blog post that Jen sent me this morning, which I've included in the show notes that will be coming to you, is, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier too, you could just say your lead magnet is your newsletter. So Erica, to your question, instead of saying, if you don't want to be on my list, you won't get the download, you don't word it that way. You say, sign up for my video content planner and my video news list.
Yeah, and you can say, sign up for my newsletter so that you get X next week when I drop it.
Exactly. And so you're including that as part of the initial benefit that they're signing up for.
Yep.
Which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we talk about this? Oh, so that my next thing was to check or not to check, which is what we already did. That was the checkbox thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So if you are using checkbox, you can do them, and most systems like MailChimp are allowing for this and catching up with it. Just know that you can't have those auto checked.
Right. They have to be that's such a really good point. They have to be unchecked first. It can't be unchecked to not get it. They have to be unchecked to begin with.
Yeah.
And I noticed when I updated my landing page for our live video masterclass, which is coming up soon, I was updating it, and their ConvertKit, which is a system that I use, already had the checkbox there automatically.
Yeah. They're all catching up. They're trying to make it easier. So let's talk about segmentation. Let's talk about segmentation first, and then we'll jump to privacy policy.
Okay, perfect.
So a lot of people right now are saying, if you want to comply with the GDPR, you should take a look at your whole email list. You should figure out either who is in the EU or you don't know where they are. And then you have to now send them a re-engagement campaign where you take them off your newsletter and you hopefully get them to say yes.
And are they saying you have to do this by Friday, though? That's the thing that I'm like, about.
So my understanding of the GDPR, and again, kind of how people are going to be penalized, it's unclear. But I think a best practice is to try and start that process before the 25th. That being said, Molly, you and I talked earlier about how the GDPR just might be the first of a line of regulations that are having this requirement. So you can keep this simple. I saw an awesome email that came in the other day from a business law friend of mine that said, hey, everybody's annoyed by the GDPR. Click below if you want to continue getting a newsletter from me. And it was simple. It was kind of funny, and it was very short and to the point. And it's definitely going to cover her butt. And it might be hard. Totally. There might be people who drop off, but she knows going forward that she has a good list.
This is where I'm going to give you my ninja tip now, because this is where I was like, great. So I can send these emails to my list, but and especially because we've kind of, sadly, for a couple months, I've kind of neglected my email list, and we've started bumping it back up again, but just there's like only so much bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
But now our email open rates are around 20%. Awesome. So then that's 80% of your list that isn't opening it, that may actually want to stay on your list. So what do you do? I have an idea.
What do you do?
So I just got so pixelated and remember everyone who's watching this right now, you who's watching this right now, that I know this is a lot and we're kind of jumping around, but we are putting all of this into show notes so that you will have a step-by-step guide of exactly what to do. Okay. Yep. Okay. So comment below with show notes, reply to our message that will tell you how to get the show notes. So inside ManyChat, which is my favorite tool for messenger bots, you can actually segment by location, because all of these rules apply to bots as well, right? This isn't just email. This is any way you're keeping their data. So let me actually see if I can show you what I mean. And what I'm going to do, I haven't actually done it yet, but what I'm going to do, and I will put out a training on this as well, and I'll include it in those show notes. I'm going to, and this might blow your mind. Okay. Are you ready to have your mind blown?
I'm probably not, but continue.
Okay. Comment mind blown if you're ready to have your mind blown. I'm going to show you how this works. So I am going to screen share. And the way that this works is you can go straight into your ManyChat account. You go to your audience, and this is probably possible with different types of bot builders as well. You go to your audience and you go to filter. So I'm going to start screen sharing. I get weird about showing people's names. So I'm going to try and minimize this so that you can't see their names. Let's see if I can do that.
Smart.
I just shrunk this down really, really far. Let's see if we can do it. Oh my gosh. I can't even see the screen that I'm on with BeLive. So hold on. I have to make it bigger. Okay, let's try and see if I can do this. Ready? Here's our BeLive screen. And then I'm going to go over here, and hopefully you're not seeing lots of people's names. Joey, Can you see my screen?
I can see. Yes.
It's really small.
It's okay.
Okay. We're going to close this stuff. I don't know what you're looking at, but okay. So can you see people's names?
I cannot.
Okay, good. So
good job. Complex.
Yes. Privacy. So there's this filtering, and you can filter by locale. Oh, there's some names. Sorry. You can filter by locale, and look at this. You can filter by all of these different places.
That's amazing.
Romania, Slovenia, places I can't pronounce.
For people who might not have built out ManyChat the way that you have, is if people just took their ConvertKit or MailChimp list and put them into ManyChat, is that can you do that?
Cannot. That's a great question. And you cannot actually, let me bring us back on camera. So you can't actually do that. You'd have to get people to subscribe to ManyChat first. But you know what you could do in the next couple of days is you could set up a Facebook ad that targets your email list that gets them subscribed to your bot. And then the whole point that I'm going to use for this is I'm going to use Zapier or Zapier. Which one do you say?
I say Zapier because they're Zaps, not Zapes.
Zaps, I know, but it looks like Zapier, which is, I should just say Zapier because they are Zaps. I'm deciding today. I'm saying Zapier forever. Thank you for making the decision. It always takes lots of time for me to explain that I don't know how to say it.
I'm the same way with GIFs and GIFs. I can't.
Totally. They're not countries, they're languages. You're right, which I realized. But I think the way that those are set is by the way people set their language. So so there's also, in addition to that, there's a way to set it by time zones. So you can set it by which time zone they're in, which would give you a much better idea of whether or not they're inside this segmented area. Smart. And then what I'm going to do is set up a Zap. When I tag people saying that they need to be GDPR compliant, I'll also tag them on my email list because I can tag people from ManyChat to ConvertKit.
Nice.
Did that make sense?
So yeah, my understanding. Yeah, I get that. So here's what I think you should do. If you have built a list like Molly, do these types of things and do segmentation. If you're just starting, or if you're kind of really honest with yourself and your list isn't really that powerful yet, or maybe you have a big list, but there's not a lot of really good people on that list, feel free to not segment and just do a re-engagement campaign generally. If that gives you peace of mind and you're like, hey, I'd rather just do everything and see what comes back.
So then are you just going to delete? This is where I get are you just going to delete all those people off your list who don't say they want the newsletter?
Some people are doing it, again, because they're prepping for the potential reality that another country is going to say, let's do this. And so they're just biting the bullet now.
And this actually brings up another Lori says you're speaking another language here. So this is why I was going to save this part for the end, because I know this is a little confusing.
Yes, it is confusing.
So we're going to go, there's other things that are going to come back to English in a second, but this is for people who have an email list that you have built, you've done Facebook ads to build, you have this relationship that you're building with people. If you haven't done this, don't worry about it. There's still some other things that will apply to you that we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
One other thing to keep in mind, though, is a lot of times cleaning out your email list and deleting people is actually good, because you're removing the dead weight.
Yep.
And your open rates will increase. It will tell the email service provider that you're using that people are actually reading your emails, because if you're just carrying dead weight, you're paying more for them because they're on your list. Yep. And you're paying your service provider based on how many people you have on your list. And it makes your open rates lower.
Yeah. And so again, if anybody's just tuning in now, or they're not really understanding why we're talking about this, the GDPR requires that you remove anybody from your newsletter list that has not given you express permission to be on the list. And that's why we're talking about segmentation, because you don't actually have to get reapproval from people in the US or people not in the EU. And so that's why we're talking about the segmentation.
Yeah. Awesome. And Bo says, purging is a great idea. Melissa, who is one of my awesome friends from like elementary school, we did children's theater together, and she owns 2 amazing businesses now. And she said, man, I'm glad my business isn't all about selling lists to other people, which that goes back to what you were saying in the beginning of who they're actually targeting with this. And I do think a lot of this is to protect all of us from creepers who are selling lists to other people. Right? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about segmentation. I gave away my little crazy sneaky thing, which I'll probably do a training on that inside my Facebook group. I also just have to say my lighting is cuckoo right now because there's clouds outside and I keep trying to adjust it, but I'm really jealous of your lighting because I look like a glowing orange. I don't know. Okay. Let's talk about your privacy policy.
I think you look great. So let's talk about privacy policies. So privacy policies are kind of like where I actually can come into play here. A lot of that other stuff, I as a lawyer can kind of tell you what to apply, but there's a lot of like marketing experts who can do a better job, frankly, than a lawyer can of here is what you can and should be doing in terms of segmenting and making that opt-in look the way it needs to and that kind of stuff. But the GDPR does have privacy policy requirements. And here's the deal. Even before the GDPR came along, everybody should have had a privacy policy.
Thank you. This is something I was going to say also, that we're supposed to have this anyway. Yeah. So this is good. Yeah.
So there's a rule out of California that says that if your website is available to people in California, then you need a privacy policy. And so because of that California rule, everybody in the US needs a privacy policy. Anyways, what that rule says is it doesn't actually, so the GDPR has requirements of things that like you have to say in there. This California rule doesn't actually give you like super clear requirements. All that it says is that you have to be transparent about certain things. And so you have to state in that privacy policy what exactly you're doing. And specifically, you need to talk in the privacy policy about what exactly you are doing and how you are collecting personal information.
So that's like pixels and cookies, right?
So how you collect can be both the technology, but also, your contact us page, the types of email that they can just provide to you voluntarily. So how you're collecting that information, how you're using that information, and how you're storing and keeping that information secure.
Awesome. So one thing that I learned, because this is somewhere where I'm like, and I messaged my website, about it. And they were like, I messaged my website. That would be awesome. I messaged my web designer, Pia, who's awesome, about it. And there's lots of plugins out there that you can just turn on. But I'm assuming this is probably something where it's better to get the actual advice of a lawyer for this, just to look over your privacy policy.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I talk with quite a few small business owners about privacy policies. And there's always this like weird thing, because before the GDPR came around, it was kind of like this standard document where you could just like copy and paste from another website, but that's not cool. Or you could like get like a privacy policy generator, which is free, or some of them cost money, or you can have an attorney give one for you. And honestly, they're pretty standard documents. the thing is, if you get a privacy policy from someone, so for instance, Molly, let's say that you decided, you know what, I put together a cool privacy policy and I want to give that away to people.
Okay.
You giving that away potentially gives you liability because if something wrong happens.
I was telling a client yesterday she builds 22 social apps, which are awesome. And if anyone needs a 22 social app, comment below with the numbers 22 because it's really cool. She'll like turn your Facebook page into a website and it's really awesome.
I love that.
She builds them for us. So if you went through our giveaway for the selfie light, she built that for us. Cool. And I was like, oh, you could offer a service where you would like make sure everyone's privacy stuff is compliant and like add the checkboxes to their thing. And then I was like, wait a minute, Mahoney, that's the worst idea ever, because then you would be liable for if something went whatever wrong. Happens. Yeah.
So for that reason, any of you business owners who do get privacy policies, just be careful about understanding that risk if you do share it, because that could give you liability. But they are pretty standard documents. And quite frankly, anybody who comes through Indie Law's doors needing anything, we just give them a privacy policy for free.
Okay, wait. So hold on. We were talking about this earlier, and Joey told me something that I didn't know about that I am totally taking advantage of. So can I beg you to tell them what you told me? Because this is like super awesome, and I am 100% doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, so, Erica asks the same question, and then we have way more tips we're bringing.
So, my law firm, Indie Law, has been around for almost 2 years now, and up until earlier this month, we had these free discovery calls, and they were great calls. Where people could call in 30 minutes and I would learn more about their business, see if they'd be a good fit. But the weird thing about being a lawyer is that I cannot actually give advice without creating an attorney-client relationship. And so I was having all of these conversations and I was getting to know these great business owners and they were asking me what they should do. And ethically, I had to bite my tongue during all of these calls. And so the calls weren't really that helpful for the client. You know, maybe they ended up purchasing me, maybe they didn't. And so we now have discovery calls that are $50 for 20 minutes, where I can actually give you advice. You send over information before the call. We really dig in about, first of all, if your business needs anything legally, and if so, what? And we can put together a plan for what your business needs. And then if you need a privacy policy, we just provide that to you as a part of you signing up for the discovery call.
So you get your own privacy policy that's approved by a lawyer who will take the liability if the policy doesn't work. I mean, but it's going to be an awesome policy, right? Like it's a legal document that is like proven to be legal. Yes. How does that work?
Yeah. It's an attorney drafted, lawyer approved document, and it has the language that you will need, to be GDPR compliant. Now, I will say that the privacy policy that we have is for probably 99.9% of the businesses out there. Yeah. But if you're building like a complex website like Facebook, and you're processing information like that in more complex ways, you'd need a much more customized privacy policy. But for the general business owner where the website, you might have a contact us page, you might have a page where people can buy from you, but for the most part,
awesome. So your basic
general website.
Tell us if ours was in the right.
Yeah.
Right. So how I would comment if you guys want access to this, comment below with the word call, just to like tell Joey you want access. And he's also going to give us a link, which I think I've already written out, but tell me what it is again, just in case.
It's super easy. It's indielaw.com/discovery.
Oh, I wrote discovery call. Hold on, I'm editing it. Okay, awesome. So I'll post this up here too, and I will be adding this to the show notes as well when you comment below with the word show notes. That's so amazing of you, BT Dubs. So everybody wants a call with Joey. Hooray!
Love it.
Okay, so we talked about the privacy policy is like a huge piece that everybody should have in place no matter what.
Yeah.
Then I would love to know more about and I love this. Lori wrote possible call. Totally good. You don't have to fully commit to the call. You can just say possible call. That is good. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. Okay. So with the privacy policy on our website, can we talk about pixels, cookies, and whether or not we need to go in and delete things from Google Analytics, or if we need to go change something in Google Analytics? Because I've heard a bunch of different stuff about this.
Yeah. So again, we're applying what the law seems to say, and we're trying to figure out how to apply that and what that means for things. If you are using like Google Analytics or a Facebook Pixel, you need to let people know that. And honestly, in addition to a privacy policy, a lot of people, which I think is a really good idea, is having some type of a pop-up. So if it's people's first time visiting your website, there's a pop-up that says, just so you know, there's a Facebook pixel, or we're using Google AdWords, really just putting it so that they know that it's there.
And it doesn't have to be something that takes over your whole entire website. I love the ones that are just like the bar at the very top. That's like, hey, just so you know, you're being pixeled or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So then I heard something about Google Analytics. Actually, Rachel Miller and somebody else said something about this, that there's something about the amount of time that you're allowed to store people's information. And so Google, and I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Google Analytics is changing the way that they store your data for Google Analytics.
Yeah.
So that it's only covering like 26 months history. And so if you want to cover more than 26 months in your history, you have to go into Google Analytics and remove that. They're auto deleting everything before 26 months ago.
Interesting. Interesting. That's super interesting. Yeah. So I will say this, like all of the Google Analytics, the ConvertKits, the MailChimps, the Facebooks, they're all trying to help us make this shift easier. And so I think over time, right now everybody's kind of rushing to do what they think they need to do. And over time, rulings will come out. We'll kind of learn exactly what's being penalized and what's not. And I think that all of these process providers will help guide us to make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Yeah. I remember my friend Bo, who's here, she was like, honestly, where are you, Bo? Bo was saying, really, for most of us who have businesses like most of us do, the tools that we're using to be able to collect this information, they are, like you said, it's interesting who is the processor and who is the collector. That type of stuff is kind of interesting. Yeah. But they are watching out for all of us. That being said, it's our business. So we need to take responsibility for it as well.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned the collectors versus the processors, and I don't want to get too much into it because it is kind of confusing, but there is a difference under the GDPR between a website that is just collecting information, which is what most of us are, and a website that is processing information. And the reason why you're getting so many emails is before the GDPR, there wasn't really a set of regulations that were putting information processors up to a higher standard. And so this is the first regulation that is saying, hey, if you're processing personal information, you have a whole other set of requirements that you have to make. And so that's why we're getting all of these emails saying we're updating our privacy policies in important ways. Because information processors are needing to, and honestly, they're the ones that should really be freaking out more because they have more liability than we probably do as collectors.
Totally. And Bo was saying, what we're saying too, it's still our business to have to audit what the processors do. 100%. Tiana says, thank you for eye-opening call. Show notes, please. You will be getting a message. And then Michelle says, you guys are rocking this live. Such great value. Thank you. And when you guys get the show notes, you're also going to get access to, the show notes will be coming soon. Tom is helping me to get those out a little more quickly to you guys. But you'll get the access to the place where I'm hosting them right away. And right away, you're going to get access to a blog post from Amy Porterfield that I loved that she put out. A blog. Did you see that one?
It's a great episode. Mm-hmm.
And it's really good for people who have businesses like we do. There's also one from Thrive Themes, which is a WordPress theme website, and they put out an awesome one that has a really funny video on it too. So that's good. And then you're also going to get access to a bunch of goodness from Joey. Joey, tell us what we're going to share with them from you. Oh no, you're frozen. Oh no,
am I still frozen?
No, you're good.
So we talked about that discovery call. Yes. So for $50, you can, we'll have a talk to kind of learn the ins and outs of your business. I can tell you what I think if there's anything that you might need to be putting in place. And then in addition to that call, you'll get a privacy policy. Was there anything else on my end?
I think we were talking about, I would love to share your Facebook group. You have, for people who are a good fit for your Facebook group. I love your Facebook group.
So here's the deal. Again, I said this a little bit earlier, but as a law firm, I very quickly realized that I really wanted to be an honest law firm and an honest business. I'm getting kind of serious here. But I was seeing a lot of...
PR off. You can get real. Get real. Ready? Go.
A lot of business owners, businesses would just start and everybody's like, I want to do things right. I want my business to grow. And there's just this avalanche of people telling you that you need to buy from them, that you need to join this group, that you need to blah, 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 blah. And after trying to work with businesses that were just starting, I came to realize, both as a business owner, as an attorney, that there are probably more foundational needs as a business than legal needs. And so the Friends of Indie Law is a Facebook group. There's about 7,000 members in it. And yeah, we do talk about legal tips and tricks, but I also am trying to do what I can to connect businesses with more honest, what I think are more foundational business services and tools, so that we can just kind of all lift each other up.
Okay. And I will have to say, I was telling somebody, Veronica or somebody, I don't know who I was telling somebody that the way that Joey and I connected, you know how we actually connected? Can you guess? I want to see if you guys can guess. Joey, do you remember how we connected?
You'll have to, I mean, I know there was, well, I know one of the reasons why, but you can share.
So I don't know how it initially started, but you called me on the phone.
Yes.
So I got this message on the actual phone that was from an actual human who was like, OMG, I've seen your videos or whatever. I don't remember exactly how you initially found it. It might have been the ManyChat thing. I don't know what it was.
You had a blog post on how to like use ManyChat to
the Map to Millions blog post.
Yeah. And I followed your blog post to the T, and it worked like crazy. And I was like, I just need to call Molly and introduce myself and thank her and go from there.
Which was so cool. And I was like, who's this person calling me? Like, people don't call me. And left this awesome message. And then we connected and we had like an amazing conversation, because we have obviously very different actual services that we're providing. Yeah. But I think our values are so similar, and the types of our values, like as humans, and then the types of value that we are sharing with our businesses is so cool. I love it.
Same.
So awesome. Yes. Okay. So let me see. Let's do a little recap of this, and then we will put out the show notes. We'll have a big deep dive. You'll also be getting, like I said, the Amy Porterfield blog post, the Thrive Themes blog post, information about Joey. And one other thing that I have not included in there yet, which I am going to add today, is ManyChat actually put out a really awesome blog post about how to do this for bots, because that's a whole nother deal.
Amazing. Yeah. So here is my challenge to everybody who follows up after this video, who takes a look at that show notes and reviews everything. My challenge to you is to pull out your phone or a clock or something and give yourself 3 hours to look at all this stuff. Take in what you can, take in the main information, and then stop and start taking action on the things and move on. This is an important thing to do, and you should spend some time getting up to speed on what you should be doing.
Do you think it's possible that we could, and because I'm like the crazy implementer, my coach, Adam Bo's husband, always says that I have like implemented before he even finishes giving me the advice of what I should be implementing, which I think is so funny.
I love it.
So to give yourself those 3 hours, and within those 3 hours, spend 1 hour skimming through the show notes from today, going to follow up a few places a little deeper, spend the other 2 hours implementing, making the shifts, and then take a break and be done. Yeah. Because and then I'm going to give an extra little tip. Have you seen my favorite bracelet? Have I shown you this yet? Do you know what this is? Can you see it? Where's my camera? Okay. So this little symbol, it's called a Zimble. What? Because this symbol, oh my gosh, I can't get it on the camera. How do I get this to work? I'm frozen. Zimble, where are you? On the camera. Where is the camera? There it is.
I can kind of see it.
Okay, I'm going to make it bigger. So this symbol actually it's this inspirational line of jewelry, and it includes the entire alphabet within this symbol, all the alphabet and all the numbers.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's super cool. My friend Dane's mom designed it as like a doodle. She was doodling "Love is all you need" and stacked the letters from those words on top of each other. Super cool. And then she put a peace sign over the top. And then her kids realized there was a K in it as well. Do you see the K?
Yep.
And so they found all the letters and numbers of the alphabet inside this one doodle.
Oh, that's so cool.
Super amazing. So it's like my favorite thing right now. And we could make this bracelet. Your Zimble could be.
If he doesn't have that design protected legally, we should talk.
Oh, he does. Don't worry. Yeah, it's like this.
Oh,
It's an awesome. They've been on QVC, and now they have a social selling platform as well, which is super cool. But you can make your symbol GDPR for just 3 hours. Only for 3 hours, right? You can trace out the GDPR to help you focus, get this stuff done in 3 hours. And then as soon as it's done, Tina nails it. You can change it back to meaning stand for joy, which is what mine means.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So focus for 3 hours, get this stuff done. Yes. Can we all commit to that? Give us a decide that you're going to do it in the comments below. And then let's just kind of touch on, we have, 1 more minute. Can you stay on with us for 1 more minute?
Yeah.
Can we do a speedy recap? Have you seen my speedy recaps before?
Oh my gosh, I haven't. I'm so excited.
Sometimes I haven't done it in a little while. At the end of my video, I'll go as fast as I can through all the points that I covered. And this is something that I'm always suggesting that we take and turn into a mini video that leads to the bigger video, which doesn't always happen. But everybody can comment speedy recap down below. That will give us all the signal of when this is happening, right? Vaughn, who takes my videos and turns them into a podcast, I can clap for him to give him like the audio spike that we're starting right now. Right? Okay. So we're going to go from the top. Joey, do you think you can handle it?
Am I participating in this or
do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I want you to do it.
Okay. Okay. Ready? Here we go. He's like, I didn't have enough coffee. Okay. Ready? So correct me if I say anything wrong though. Just be like, yeah. Awooga, awooga. Something's wrong.
No, I think you got this.
Okay. I think I got this. We're going to like, that's my vocal warm up. Okay. Ready. So here we go. And remember, well, hold on. We're just going to start right now and we're going to finish this I'm going to try and do 1 minute. So we'll end at 1 minute after the hour. Ready? What is the GDPR? It is a new set of regulations that come out on May 25th that mostly affect people who are inside the EU. They don't have to live there. They just have to be there. And if you have anyone who is inside the EU on your list or you have their data or you're communicating with them somehow, or if they're visiting your website, you have to make sure that you pay attention to this. So this covers lead mags and newsletters. So lead magnets, newsletters, you might want to shift your stuff to either add a checkbox or include your newsletter and your lead magnet together in the same exact thing so that people are opting in for both. Don't use it as like blackmail where you say you can only get my newsletter if you do this. You have to use it as something that's like, yay, my newsletter comes with my video content planner. Okay, so to check or not to check, you get to decide. The next thing is you have to make sure that you have a privacy policy. If you don't have one, make sure you talk to Joey because he's going to help you by doing a $50 discovery call where you will also get a basic version of a privacy policy. This also covers pixels and cookies. So make sure that you have a pop-up on your website that says, hey, you're being pixeled or cookied. You might want to segment your current list. I shared a super cool ninja strategy for doing that using bots and Zapier with a Zap. And it's not super crazy important. Don't stress out about this, but it could be important to segment your list and delete the people who are in the EU who don't want to be on your actual list. Because if you have a really big company where they could sue you for lots of money, they could do that. Okay. Google Analytics. You might want to check your Google Analytics because I've heard that they're going to be deleting things that are past 26 months. Perhaps that number might not be right, but check it, Google Analytics. If you want to keep old information, check that. This is Joy Vitale. Vitale. I didn't say that in the beginning, which I should have, but it wasn't in my list. And if you want these show notes, just comment show notes below because this is some magic. That was a speedy recap.
That
took 2 minutes.
Was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
So if anybody is watching this video.
People keep saying the show notes have the wrong link and I don't know why. It worked when I did it. Okay, well, if you asked for the show notes and the show notes didn't come up properly, I have your email address now, so I'll email them to you. There must be, because I checked it. I'm going to check it right now and I will send you all the message with the real show notes as soon as we're done.
So
okay.
What I'm excited is for the fact that the before photo of this video was your Bitmoji and Chewbacca. And hopefully the after photo, after everybody watches this video, is somebody who understands how to move forward, what this means, and they can move on and keep working on their business.
Totally. Within just 3 hours.
Yeah.
So 3 hours to review and implement and then go back to having a rocking business. And we can all move on from the cuckoo-ness that has been known as the GDPR. Ta-da! Show notes, show notes, show notes. Okay.
Oh,
what? Something else?
Yeah. Anybody about the GDPR? I heard that a certain guy whose last name rhymes with Muckerberg is being interviewed by the EU right now, today.
I saw a picture of it. Muckerberg.
Yeah. And so there might be some takeaways from that interview and conversation that might shed some light about what exactly their concerns are.
I like it. You know, one thing we didn't talk about, which we're not going to have time to talk about today, but what if you have custom audiences on Facebook and your Facebook ads? Like, or you're retargeting?
There's so much unknown here. And like I said, I think that like Facebook is going to be kind of growing along with these regulations as the EU itself tries to figure out what it means.
Yeah. Dang it. So we're just going to keep not dang it. Wow. That's amazing because we have so much opportunity for growth. So hopefully right now you don't feel like Chewbacca was speaking the whole time.
Correct.
You don't feel like you're listening to the GDPR on the pirate ship. And you don't feel like GDPR, are you kidding me? The other one that I thought of a lot. GDP what? So this was awesome. How grateful are we to have Joey? Give him all of the fireworks, the likes, the hearts, the flowers, if those are available, because I saw that they were coming back. And make sure that you check out the show notes when I send you the proper link, because apparently I really, as of this week, I am no longer the one to build my own stuff because I keep having typos in it.
Oh, typos. You know what? Preach with typos.
Thank you.
Do you know the co-schedule people?
Actually, so cool. We were just talking about that yesterday in my Go Live and Monetize coaching program, Glam, because my friend Lauren shared about something about co-schedule. So tell me about it.
Well, they just came out with a new book called the 10X Marketing Formula. And one of the things that they said in that book was, we realized as a business that fixing typos isn't worth our time. So all of our blog posts most likely have typos in them. And we've decided as a business to stop worrying about it.
Oh my gosh, I love them. And I also have heard studies that typos increase engagement. For example, how many people have emailed us today about it? I don't know how many people have emailed us, but a bunch of people have written. So I did it on purpose. And that is why when I talk about the quesadilla of awesome, I use the acronym SAVE. Do you know this?
You're teaching me so many.
Oh my gosh, so much. Okay, so the acronym for the quesadilla of awesome, which I'm not going to explain what that is, but the word is SAVE, and it has 5 letters. You might think SAVE is spelled with 4 letters, but it's actually SAAVE because I spell things. What?
How do you spell it?
SAAVE.
Okay.
Because I can't spell, and so I want people to know right away that they're going to get typos. So I establish my typos as a part of my brand.
I love that.
Rather than stressing out about it, because then I would just not move into action.
Yeah.
See, Molly loves typos. And everyone, if you can't handle that, then you probably shouldn't hang out with us.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what co-schedule. They were like, anybody who's pointing out our typos are kind of those annoying people anyways who we don't want to work with. So.
And there's probably better things to do. And anyone who we build bots for, I want you to know that Kelly handles that part of things. So Kelly is the one who was building your bots, not me. This is like another case of the cobbler's shoes.
Love it.
All right. This has been so awesome. Joey, I'm so glad that we did this.
Same. Thank you so much for inviting me, Molly.
So awesome. I can't wait till we have our discovery call and to have you back on to talk about more things like trademarks. If there's other things that you guys would love to have Joey on to talk about, we're going to make it happen because BeLive TV is magical. While he's in Chicago and I'm here, we're able to be here with all of you wherever you are. And really, I know it is both of our joy to be able to help you to unlock your inner awesome and elevate it with the magic of Facebook Live, Messenger bots, the pirate ship GDPR, and having a good time. Go out and make some magic happen. Bye.